Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's weather forecast, we're going to be going over what we can expect by the time we head into Thanksgiving, which we are still currently tracking a storm system that could be impacting parts of the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and maybe even into the New England region by the time we get into Thanksgiving, like I said. And then after Thanksgiving, we'll be tracking two things. One, snow clippers, which could be coming from the north and tracking towards the Ohio Valley. And then the other thing that we're especially going to keep an eye on is this Arctic blast, which could be bringing negative temperatures up to the north, with still some extremely and frigid temperatures farther down to the south too as well. So we'll definitely continue to keep an eye on it closely, so make sure to stay tuned till the end so that you know what to expect in today's video. And if you haven't done this already, make sure to subscribe to my channel, as we will continue to keep you guys updated with the latest on Weather with Sim. But also don't forget to leave a like too as well. This help out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. You guys can leave anything down below as long as it's respectful, and I will get to those right after today's weather forecast. But let's first go ahead and talk about what we can expect with this Thanksgiving storm, and this is going to be for today. And as you guys can see, for today we do have two marginal risks of severe weather, one across central Alabama and Mississippi, and another one down there towards the western panhandle of Florida, and even includes a little bit there of extreme south western Georgia. And one of the concerns today will be that potential for a couple brief spin up tornadoes. Not really looking at any significant risk for any of the hazards for today, but we definitely once again could maybe see a brief tornado or two, so we'll definitely watch it closely. Same with wind, we could definitely see some isolated damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour in both areas, but once again not really seeing anything too significant for today. And for the hail threat, not really seeing any hail threat either. Hail could be a little bit of a concern far to the north, but the panhandle of Florida and extreme southeastern Georgia will not have to worry about that. So if you do live across central Alabama and Mississippi, you will need to keep an eye on all hazards. Once again, we aren't seeing anything too significant, so you probably don't really need to take this extremely seriously, but you definitely should be watching, like I said, for all hazards, because they can occur for today. But if you do live down here more towards Apalachicola and as well as Panama City Beach in Florida, you'll need to watch for two things: isolated damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, and as well as a brief tornado or two, which could even be a water spout. So make sure to be watching for both of those if you do live across Panama City Beach or Apalachicola, Florida. And then by the time we get into tomorrow, we are going to be watching the south and southeast closely, as more that, storm activity is going to continue to shift off to the east, to where now the Carolinas will be included, including the Raleigh area back down into Columbia, even parts there of Atlanta back down there into Birmingham and Montgomery, and as well as into parts there of Jackson, Mississippi, and maybe even into the New Orleans area. One of the concerns tomorrow will be that risk for a few tornadoes, as we do have a pretty big 2% risk for tornadoes, so we will be concerned, a little bit more about maybe a tornado or two occurring tomorrow, so we will keep an eye on it closely. For wind, though, we could definitely see some, isolated damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, and, same with hail, we definitely could see some isolated large hail up to 1 inch in diameter or greater. So we'll have to watch it very closely. You guys down there in Florida might need to watch for all hazards tomorrow, including that potential for maybe a little bit of large hail. So tomorrow is kind of going to be a different story as we get into Thanksgiving. So if you do have any plans tomorrow for Thanksgiving, make sure you are watching the weather closely, staying informed while you're celebrating it, because it's just not really looking to be a great day to be outside. That's probably what I should say. Not really looking to be like a great day to be outside if you live anywhere from the Carolinas, including the Raleigh area, all the way back down to New Orleans, and that's when it's better to celebrate it indoors. So make sure to, kind of use some caution if you're going to be doing any of that stuff. And then, like I said, we are going to be watching this entire area closely for some storm activity, as some of those supercells could get ongoing as we head into later today and as well as into Thanksgiving. Once again, not really seeing any... Excuse me, once again, not really seeing anything too significant, but we'll definitely watch it very closely, as some isolated cells could definitely get going as we head to tonight and as well as into your Thanksgiving. Let's now go ahead and talk about some of this storm system that's going to be rolling through, and we're going to be using the European model again, as it does want to show a pretty big area of showers and thunderstorms on the southeastern side of that system, and as you guys can see, it even pops up those cells right there, which does bring that concern once again for some isolated severe weather on Thanksgiving. We will also need to be watching places like the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, into the Atlantic and Northeast. We'll pretty much be watching this area right here for some potential snowfall. I didn't want to show like the entirety of that storm system, but you guys over here in places like, the Great Lakes region, like I said, we'll need to watch closely for, some pretty big snowfall, especially if you do live near the lake. So we'll be watching for some lake effect snowfall closely, and that is going to continue to move farther to the northeast to where Maine and Vermont, New Hampshire will likely also experience some snowfall, with once again maybe that potential for a little bit of isolated severe weather. But things should definitely start calming down there in the southeast by the time we get into the weekend. And then another thing that we're gonna have to watch for by the time we get into the weekend, like I said, you guys in the south and southeast will kind of be more in the clear for the weekend, but you guys far to the north, like the lower Ohio Valley, that's something to watch very closely, as we will have kind of these clipper systems moving on down, because as you guys can see, we got a little clipper right there shown by the European model, bringing a little bit of snowfall to southern Illinois, western Kentucky, and even parts there of extreme southwestern Indiana. So that is going to be something to watch very closely for. But look what happens as we head into Monday. Ooh, that is a more intense looking clipper right there, and this is what the European model shows. And like I said, I didn't want to show the entirety of the clipper, but once again, it's kind of going to be moving down like this. So you guys, like in this area right here, will need to be watching for some pretty big amounts of snowfall from this clipper, as it is going to continue to move on down towards lower Ohio Valley from Canada. So once again, guys, this is kind of a crazy thing right here that we'll really have to be watching for, because if you guys are wondering what clippers are, they're these little snowstorms that can roll on down from Canada riding the jet stream, and usually the clipper is mostly a snowstorm, especially when it's above that freezing line right there, and they can bring some snowfall. They don't typically bring a lot, but they definitely can bring an inch or two of snow, which has happened with quite a bit of them before, and of course they don't really last very long, so that's why the snowfall totals are usually pretty low with these clippers. So that's kind of what they are, is just these little snowstorms that typically only bring a little bit of snowfall, and they can even happen when they're not expected, because like I said, they pretty much just ride down the jet stream if one of the snow storms up here are touching it. They can just ride down all the way towards the lower Ohio Valley, and so make sure to be aware about that if you do live in the Midwest, all the way down towards the lower Ohio Valley, and as well as into the Mid-Atlantic. Those will be areas to watch very closely for. And then after that, we have another system to watch very closely for by the time we get into the, December 7th time frame. And, this is still uncertain because we are heading over a week out. But, this is certainly something to really keep an eye on, as the Great Lakes region could definitely experience another pretty big snowstorm. And, I mean, the European model usually does do a pretty good job with things like this. So, like I said, because of that, we'll definitely watch it very closely. And, of course, we'll continue to keep you guys up to date on what we can expect. And then as we are tracking a lot of that snow potential, we will also be tracking this Arctic blast once again that does look to be bringing well below average temperatures to much of the eastern United States, as we will have a lot of that cold air surge on down from Canada, and that's just going to be bringing negatives and even lots of teens and single digits back down into the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and as well as into the Northeast. And I mean, a lot of this is just going to continue to surge on down even towards the East Coast, so you guys along the East Coast might need to watch closely for some frost, as some of you guys do look to get close to 32 degrees, which is pretty unusual for you guys close to the coast. But I mean, like I said, it's gonna be quite a pretty historic Arctic blast right here, so definitely get ready for it, guys. Don't regret the frost, or else it could kill your plants, so make sure to protect them if you haven't already, as frost is definitely likely across the coastal areas. Let's now go ahead and look at your total snowfall. I did figure out a website that does use the European model to look at the total snowfall, so thankfully we are able to look at it this time. And as you guys can see, the European model is currently forecasting some pretty big snowfall totals across this entire area right here. The Great Lakes region back into Mid-Atlantic and as well as New England will be one area to watch for. But like I did say earlier, we're going to have these clippers rolling on down that could bring that potential anywhere from 2 to 3 inches, guys. 2 to 3 inches of snowfall is going to be possible across the Midwest, in Lower Ohio Valley, and even parts there of the upper Midwest could definitely experience quite a bit of snowfall from these clippers that are expected to roll on through. So once again, make sure to be watching all that if you do live across the Midwest and Lower Ohio Valley, as a lot of those clippers, like I said, they don't typically bring a lot of snowfall, but they still can though, so that's why we got to be watching them very closely. And then for your total precipitation, anywhere from now all the way to December 5th, which was the same with the total snowfall, by the way. And as you guys can see, some decent amounts likely across much of the eastern United States, and once again, some of that is going to be more in the way of snowfall than rainfall, and so we'll definitely watch that area closely. Even the areas far down to the south, like the Dixie Alley area, not really seeing a ton of rainfall from those storms, but if you do get caught under a storm, expect higher rainfall totals than what the European model is showing, but we could definitely see an inch or two in some areas, even though this only shows right around a half an inch. But thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy today's weather forecast. If you guys are new here to the YouTube channel, or if you like to stay up to date on Weather with Sim, make sure to go down below and click that subscribe button, as we will continue to keep you guys updated with the latest. Don't forget to leave a like too as well. This help out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. You guys can leave anything down below as long as it's respectful. And I hope you guys all have a great Wednesday and Thanksgiving, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone. Ooh.